Hi, Stuart. Okay. Hi, Stuart. How are you? You can type in your question here. No one's here quite yet. But um, but I'm planning on talking about supplements today. Do you have any question about supplements? You can type in the chat box. We can wait a few more minutes and I can get started. But I I kind of want to talk about supplements because it's something that I see a lot of people have questions about. Because when I scan through the question through the groups, I see a lot of question about people asking different supplements, want to know if what works and whatnot. So it's definitely a hot topic, and I want to touch on a few things with the supplements. So, okay. Um, so um, let me see where I'm going to start. I'm very interested in the supplement topics, as you kind of know, like from if you follow me on my blog or have read my books, I do have a huge section on that. So supplements is something that can this condition because supplements do have their own function, but unfortunately, if you go to any other regular dietitians or nutritionists, well, mostly a registered dietitian, you'll get lecture on like supplements. They'll usually tell you something like, "Oh yeah, you're just wasting your money. You're just nourishing the toilet. Like it doesn't do anything. There's no studies to support this and that." Okay, looks at my internet. Okay, um, so basically, a lot of these dietitians they'll tell you that, oh yeah, don't take supplements, don't waste your time on it. The only thing they might recommend will be something like a multivitamin or some iron supplement if your iron level is low. So, but that's not my case, or in my case. And the reason why is because I work with a lot of kids, like from like brand new newborn baby, premature to older kids who have very rare genetic mutations or disorders where some of the biochemical pathway doesn't work. So the diet has to be manipulated to a point to the extreme in some cases. Like I have kids who cannot eat any carbohydrate at all to the extreme where the total carbohydrate plus protein intake for a day is about 4 grams a day. So like pretty much like 98% of the diet is like all fats. And I also have patients who have like um, amino acid. Oh my God, the word left me. But who cannot process amino acid or protein, so they have to be on like a strict vegan diet plus specialized supplements, like someone who have, alanine, ketonuria, or maple syrup during disorder, things like that. So they can't even have any kind of animal protein or even bread or certain kind of carbs in the diet. So when someone is on extreme cases of um, modified diet, they need to be on supplements, and that's where I learned all these different function of using supplements. Because when someone is on a super high fat diet, they need to take additional coenzyme Q10 and carnitine to push all that extra fat into the mitochondria for it to work. Because normally our body is not used to using that much fat. Or when another kids who have like well, one of my other patient, he cannot have long chain fatty acids. So we'll have to really monitor, like his diet needs to be on a low fat diet. And because of his specific medical condition, his body cannot break down fat between meals. So we have to make sure that he's fed every 4 hours because his body just cannot make sugar between, like if he didn't eat for a long time. So he needs to be on a special supplement as well to make sure that he have extra carbohydrates circulating in his blood at all times, 24/7. So that's where I learned all these supplements uses. So, but the thing is, I stick to the very simple, basic ones that the body already is using. So I don't do too much of the herbal stuff, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. And actually, I need to change my post. So basically, there are three different functions. In general, supplements serve three functions. So the number one function is the most simple, most common ones that we kind of think about is correcting a nutritional deficiency, a nutrient deficiency, something like iron deficiency. Um, what's the other thing people supplement? So iron deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, or zinc deficiency, magnesium, something like that. So things that when we're not eating enough, either we don't eat enough from our diet, or for some reason our body is using up more of it, or our body is losing it. So kind of like um, iron deficiency is common in someone or in kids who drink milk excessively because calcium in milk can block the body from absorbing the iron, and that could cause iron deficiency. Or it is in someone who, oh, who have blood loss. So sometimes, again, going back to milk again, sometimes kids who have milk allergy can have blood in the stool and they can lose blood from that way or lose iron from that way. Or someone who have a vitamin D deficiency, which I see a lot. So with the iron, vitamin D deficiency is either they're not eating enough. The other way you can get vitamin D will be from through your skin exposure to the sunlight, or for some reason your body just kind of using it too much. So that's the number one function of a supplement is it corrects a nutrient deficiency. And then the number two function of of a supplement will be to boost a function. So kind of like I mentioned earlier, like if your energy level is not good, something you can take will be to boost the mitochondria. And your mitochondria is like the power station in your body, and it's all over in your body. Every cells have it, but certain cells have more, and I'll talk about that a little bit. So looking at the function of the mitochondria, the basically is if you want a mitochondria works better, you'll supplement things that it will help boost um, that the mitochondria needs. So it's kind of like your car, right? So your car needs gas to go. So something like that. Basically, you can use something like coenzyme Q10, carnitine, and then alpha lipoic acid. So those are the three antioxidants that is needed for the mitochondria to function. So that's one way to boost a function. And in general, pretty much any vitamins and minerals and antioxidant can be used to boost a body function because pretty much pathways, every biochemical pathways in the bodies require at least one vitamins or minerals or an antioxidant to turn it all like to turn on those reactions to make our body works better. Um, well, yeah, I can talk about those. Those are very basic ones. And then the third function of a supplement will be to correct a weak or defective biochemical pathways. So in our book, I did mention about one of the cause of ADHD is the MTHFR defect or genetic defect. So that will be in that specific case, supplementing with the active form of the folate acid, which is the methylfolate, will be the only treatment for that condition. Okay, there are a few of the things that you mentioned here that I have never seen. Oh, and actually, I want to add like a number four, not really another function, but I want to talk about like different kind of vitamins. So most of the supplements that I'm used to, because I work in a medical setting, I use everything that I use is based on the body function. So everything that I used and recommend even in my book, my blog is like things that is already in nature, things that our body has already been accustomed to used to as part of human body. But then when you look at the overall supplement market, you'll notice that so the things I'm talking about is standard things like vitamins, supplements, vitamins, minerals, and most of the antioxidant that the body needs. But then there's also herbal supplements. So I want to talk a little bit about herbal supplements. So herbal supplement, the way I look at it is it's really not a supplement. It's more like a medication. So um, people often think that, oh yeah, it's an herb, it comes from a plant, come from a root, so it's more natural. The truth is it is not. So going back a little bit, just tiny history, not too long. A lot of the medication that we're using nowadays, like that drug companies is banking billions of dollars on, actually comes from plant. So like a lot of the heart medications, what's the other thing we take all the time? Is it aspirin? All of those actually comes from a plant. But what drug company does is they take that active compound from the plant, they take it into a lab, tweak a few molecules, and make it super potent, and then put a patent on it and bank on it for 10 years. So if you think of knowing the history of where medication comes from, herbal supplement actually is as potent as pharmaceutical prescription drugs. So that's why like I don't recommend a whole lot of that unless there's like really good research studies on it. Like some of the herbal supplement for antidepressant, because really like with antidepressant there's actually more studies showing that the actual antidepressant medication doesn't really work. Like some herbal stuff actually works just as good, and in those cases that will be where I recommend those. And then I also look into the brain function, like what is it that is missing in the brain that's causing some of the depressive symptoms. So okay, let's check your list. Uh, okay, so you listed a bunch of stuff, but let me just go over one more thing quickly about supplements so we'll have better ideas of it. Um, okay, so actually I just post posted or shared an article in the Facebook group, and it talks about the reason why some supplements not work. And that's the reason why I want to talk about this today, is because I saw a lot of like people posting things about like, oh, I tried these supplements and I tried that, it didn't seem to work. Or a lot of questions that is posted on the group is based on that, like, oh, I want to see if someone tried this before I buy this supplement because I don't know if it's gonna work for me. And I just want to talk about like why some supplements work and why some work and why some don't. So there are a few reasons that like these are four reasons that I see all the time from my patient, like why supplements doesn't work. So first of all, I call this the sprinkle dilemma. So it's like you're in the ocean and then you put a couple drops of water in the ocean. There's not gonna be any effect. Oh, wow. Yes. Um, so that's the sprinkle dilemma. When you put something tiny a little bit in the system, you're not going to see any changes or effect. And so the sprinkle dilemma basically is that you're using the wrong dose. So a lot of times when people say, oh yeah, let's try this supplement, but I'm just kind of not sure about the side effects. So let me just do the bare minimum. So this is the truth. So most of the vitamins that you get in the store, you don't have a doctor prescription, right? Anyone can just go out, anyone with money can just go to the store and pick up whatever they want. So the dose on the supplement is really, really like not that high because this company doesn't want to get anyone injured or harmed. So they just put like the instruction for a low dose on it. So that way people can just buy it. And then hopefully the placebo effects kicks in, they'll see some benefits. But a lot of times the dose is not enough. Um, like even for myself, a lot of the supplements I use double the dose on the container. But I'm not recommending you to do that because I know what I'm doing. But I'll only suggest that if you actually see a provider and give you that recommendations to do so. So using the wrong dose is the ones that I see the most because you won't see any difference if you just put a sprinkle of whatever. The second thing that I see most often, that is the reason why the supplements not work, is you're using the wrong supplements. It's like trying to correct an iron deficiency with a vitamin D supplements. So it's just definitely not going to work. It's like knocking on the wrong door. And then the third thing that I see a lot is people just think that the supplements is like a magical pill. So I can just go out and eat whatever garbage and junk that I want, eat all that food that can cause brain damage, like inflammation and all those. But then expect to go home every night and take a tiny little pill and undo all the damage from the diet. So so that's the third thing that I see a lot. And then the fourth thing that I see a lot is that um, what was that now? The fourth thing is, oh, people stop too soon. So they take a supplement and then they take it for a few days or a few weeks. And then they're like, I don't see anything. So again, going back to using the wrong dose and wrong supplements. So you kind of have to go back and see what you did wrong, right? And I saw your question, Stuart. Um, So yeah, so you have to go back and see if you're using too little, you're using the wrong supplements, or is it because you haven't made a diet change yet? So those are some of the things. And the other thing that I see a lot is people also stop because they start seeing negative side effects. Like the most common ones is with probiotics. A lot of the kids that I see, I recommend probiotics, and a lot of times parents just freaked out. Like they started probiotics 2, 3 days later, the kid either have more diarrhea, more constipation, more outburst in behavior, and immediately they stop the probiotic and said, oh no, it doesn't work because it makes his behavior worse. Sometimes with the supplements, you have to give it time because these are really not magical pill that you just take and your problem disappear. The way the supplement works is it corrects whatever it's supposed to correct or boosts whatever system is supposed to, but it takes time. It is a healing process. It's not a magical pill that it's not like your painkiller where you have a fever, you take a painkiller and then your fever comes down within an hour. It's not like that. With supplements, the effects takes longer, and the way to even look at it is like remodeling your home. Sometimes you might see the behavior or some of the symptoms worsen. So it's like remodeling a home. Things just have to get really messy before the good stuff comes out. So you just have to take the time. Okay, so Stuart, you have a long list of supplements. So what are you trying to accomplish? And like um, if you want to, you can unmute yourself and you can then I can have a conversation with you because like just looking at this list, I because I need to know what's going on in your background, like what kind of issue you trying to fix. Because all these are good supplements, like the probiotics. Okay, let me just go over this list. You can type in the chat box if you don't want to talk. I don't know the first one. The creatine is more for muscle building. The omega-3 fatty acid, that's perfect for brain health. The multivitamin, I have to look at the brand and the bottle and see and tell you what it is. B complex is tricky. I have a very specific brand of B complex that I recommend my patient to take because not all B complex are the same. Um, this one, oxyracetam, it kind of looks familiar, but I don't know what that is. Okay, most of these I have no idea. Rhodiola is a good calming herbs. Lion's mane is also good. Like all these herbs here, the lion's mane, rhodiola, and ginseng, these are very good with what's that? With helping your brain focus. The Shisandra, I think that's more of a hormonal thing. Like um, yeah, I would skip that one. The alpha GPC, I don't remember what that one is because one of the supplements I taking have that too. I think it's help with focus. The NAC sustain, I think this is a brand. So NAC is the N-acetylcholine, no, acetyl, oh, cysteine, N-acetylcysteine. It is an what you call it? It's a very, very potent and antioxidant. So this is good for detoxing and boosting your glutathione level. Okay, CBD oil. So I don't know if you read the grip rules. Like I don't allow CBD in the grip, and it's because there's no studies and safety related to all the CBD supplements you get in the market right now. The only CBD medications that I would recommend, but just not really me recommending you take it, but more like I trust, is the Epilox. Okay, I'll have to find the name. Um, is it is the only FDA approved CBD based medication to treat seizure disorder in children with I think three very very specific genetic disorder. So that's the only CBD supplements or medication that I would say is safe to use. Anything else that you can buy in the store or from online anywhere, I would not trust. I went to a training, actually a training on the CBD, and it talks about how a lot of the CBD supplements are not pure. There's a lot of contaminations and it's not standardized. So you might be buying something that has CBD, but it might not have CBD or more THC, THC in it. And also, um, this is the thing that I talk about maybe somewhere else, is that there is a reason why marijuana has been illegal all these years. The marijuana do damage the brain. So it's definitely something that I would avoid, even though it might help you with your symptoms. But overall, in the long run, it damages the brain. And the reason why CBD is now legalized is because the government is seeing that so many people are using it. They just want to get their hands on the money that they get. So it's not really because they think it is safer now. It's just because they just want their hands on that money pot. Okay, so all these magnesium are good. So magnesium helps with relaxing your body because magnesium is one of the electrolytes that helps your muscle to relax. So like some of the things like with okay, so all those are magnesium, and then the nootropics depot, that sounds like a store that you use. So magnesium helps with relaxing a muscle, but that's only one of the main thing it does. Magnesium have 300 over 300 different involved in 300 different reaction in the body. That's why like magnesium is one of the first few supplements that I recommend for someone with ADHD. Because in general, I think our our generation now, we're not eating as much magnesium because most of the magnesium from food comes from plants, like things like pretty much all the vegetables, your fruits, the nuts, and chocolate. not milk chocolate, just dark cocoa. So those are the things that where magnesium came from. But the other problem is that the farm, like the soil that our plants come from, are so depleted from over farming. So the mineral content is really low. And also because magnesium is used in like 300 different reactions in the body. So when you're always in stress, which is like a lot of people with ADHD do also have anxiety, just not um, the anxiety is not so much that it is part of the defects of the brain, but more so how we perceive our life as someone who have ADHD, because we just don't feel comfortable. Like we feel like everything that we do, we messed it up. We do something, someone tell, hey, you're not supposed to do it that way. Or when we're in school, we just feel kind of behind. We don't know what we're doing. So all of that creates stress, internal stress, and that could cause our body to use up certain chemicals and stuff quickly. Okay, some of these I have no idea. Okay, so probiotics, yep, these are good. So the probiotics, 25 billion CFU, that's perfect. Usually I'm not very picky about the strain. I only like I only focus on the diversification of the species. So the more variety, the better. And you want to have a mix of the lactobacillus and the other one, acidophilus. Yeah. CoQ10 is perfect. CoQ10 help boost move things to the mitochondria. So that's good. The theanine and caffeine. So the theanine and caffeine mix basically is your green tea, because that's what is in green tea, but not the green tea where you put the bag in hot water and soak and then you drink it. It's the matcha green tea, the Japanese one where they ground up the tea and then you put that tea powder in the water and you drink the water with all the tea powder in it. That's what it is. Okay, so the curcumin here, so you have curcumin. So that's basically turmeric. So the benefit of the turmeric act as an antioxidant. So it's and also the phenol, yeah, something like that, is a specific antioxidant that helps to reduce inflammation. So the curcumin is not specific for ADHD, but it does help in the fact that it reduces inflammation in the body. So part of the thing with the thinking here is not only because the brain chemical is a little bit off and the prefrontal cortex is weak, but it's also the inflammation from like the environment, like the food that we eat, the air we breathe, the water that we drink, and also the stress in our life. All of those can cause inflammation in our body. And then the phosphatidylserine, this is a good ingredient for brain tissue. Uh, that's a component of the brain tissue. And then the ashwagandha, this is a good supplement for, I think, to help you calm down and focus. So this is a good one. The ashwagandha will work really well combined with the rhodiola and ginseng. Like because all of these herbal stuff they kind of work on in their own way, so you see a lot of like um, focus or brain function supplements kind of have a mix of those. So like I like to, yeah, that's type of supplements that I like is a mix of different herbal stuff and things that helps the brain with. And like the other thing too I look for in the supplements is also other vitamins in it, because just having those herbal stuff might not be enough, because again going back to how the body works is there are different biochemical pathways that involve vitamins and minerals. So that's the reason why it's so important that you have a healthy diet to support all of those things that you put in. So it's kind of like a orchestra of a big project. Like it's like again going back to remodeling a home, right? You don't only use a hammer and think that, oh yeah, I have a hammer, I can just remodel a whole house. You don't. You have hammer, you have, I don't know the names of all the tools. You have hammer, you probably need a saw, you need a drill. you have different tools, and also remodeling a home, you have different people. You have contractors, you have a designer, you have architect, electrician, different things. You have to look at different kind of things to get the best results. So okay, so you take a lot of stuff. So then my question is, let me just go over these more. Okay, so the multivitamin twice a day, and then so the bioactive, so you mentioned about B complex twice. So the B complex that I recommend to all my patients is the pure encapsulation. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to think of the name because it's a different name. It's called Pure Encapsulation Pure Genomics B complex. That's the one that I recommend, and the reason why is because the dose is a lot higher than the general um, recommendation by the FDA. So it's like a lot higher, and it's all in the active form. That's the one that I recommend all of my patients to take. Okay, and the acetyl L-carnitine is a good supplement because it helps to push fats into the mitochondria for use. So this will be really beneficial if you're on a higher fat diet, which I do recommend that people with ADHD stick to is a higher fat diet, not a ketogenic diet, but just a higher fat diet, because one of the defects with the ADHD brain is that it doesn't process carbohydrate too well. So if you can push a little bit more fats, healthy fats in your diet, and then supplement with something like the acetyl L-carnitine, that will help with giving your brain another source of energy rather than relying on carbohydrate that it cannot use. Because the brain, um, by default, only use glucose as energy. But when in certain situation, it can use ketones, which is the byproduct of um, fat being broken down. So the acetyl L-carnitine will help with that. Okay, this next one, I've seen it, but I never look it up because, like I said, I only focus on the things that I know the body use. So a lot of these other things, the herbal stuff, and like those different name ones, I don't know. Um, Go to cola. That's I think something similar to ginseng that is good as well. I actually was going to write an article on that, but it kind of fell on the other side. DMA, I don't remember what that's for. Okay, kava kava. This is like it's more of the for anti anxiety. So this one comes you the Panics ginseng. That's good. So with ginseng, you always want to use ginseng together with Ginkgo biloba because most of the research shows that when the two are used together, you have the most beneficial results. Uridine, not sure what that is. I think I've seen it somewhere. Monophosphate, that looks like part of some salt. Choline is good. Um, with the choline, you can take a choline supplement or you can just eat egg yolks. That's what egg yolk is, choline. Okay, cognizant, that's definitely for brain. And I don't remember. One of my friends take a supplement that has that, but I know it is for the brain. It might be a zinc supplement. D3 and K2, those are good supplements for, I think, for leaky gut or something like that. The zinc is good. So I always like to take zinc because it helps to boost the immune system. And it, especially if you have someone, zinc and iron both, someone who have a very restrictive diet or a diet that has a lot of processed food tends to be low on iron. And then ginkgo biloba, again, you should use that with your ginseng. Pinogenol, that's like a bark, like bark from some pine tree from France. There are some studies, but this is not a huge thing. So I wouldn't spend too much money on that. Like, okay, so you ordering from the nootropics depot. Yeah, so a lot of the supplements that you're taking is really good, but then like I said, like it's hard for me to tell you which one you should stick to and which one not because I don't know what your symptoms is or what symptoms you're trying to correct. And I don't know how's your diet is or your lifestyle. But what I can tell you is basic thing. Let's see. Oh, inattentive. Okay. So few things you want to do with that is the inattentive you can stick with. So I'll start with the basic first. So the basic will be the vitamin, the multivitamin is like, yeah, so most adults have ADHD and don't have that hyperactivity. And actually, the hyperactivity in adult is a little bit different. In kids, when we see hyperactivity, it's more like a kids. You know how when you go to the zoo and you see a monkey that just jump up and down anywhere? That's hyperactivity in kids. Like they just can't sit still. In adults, you might not see so much of that. You might see more fidgeting in adult and also racing thoughts. That's the hyperactivity in adults. It's like they just constantly on the go because they have so many things going on in the brain. But so it's mostly inattentive. So I'll recommend that for you. First thing is work on your diet. And the reason why is because you want to work on the diet is I have that example in my book. The diet or the food that you eat is like electricity to your house. So if say you just bought a brand new house, right? You look inside, you're like, oh yeah, there's all these appliances and stuff that looks kind of old, but I don't know if they're working. And then you go try to turn on an oven or open a refrigerator or turn on the AC or turn on lights, nothing works is because there's no electricity, right? So for the ADHD too, it's the same thing. Like if you don't have your nutrition part dialed in, you just have all these symptoms, but you don't know what's going on and whatnot. So if you can get your diet all dialed in, making sure that it's as clean as possible that you can do based on your lifestyle, if it's something meal planning is hard, cooking every night is hard, at least try to avoid processed food if possible. Like anything with additional extra added sugar, coloring additives, and any kind of the candy and stuff. You can go to my blog and find that list. So, um, and then, um, so that's the diet part. So once you have the diet dialed in, you have more nutrients going through your body, then you'll see some of the symptoms kind of calm down, and then you can actually see what's really need to be fixed. Then from there, the ones that I'll recommend, like based on yours is more the inattentive ADHD or without the H. So you actually want to do more of the ones that helps calm you down as well, because we're not talking about physical calmness. Is a lot of times with the inattentive ADHD is not calm in the brain. Like you can correct me. Like, are you having a lot of like racing racing thoughts? Like your thoughts come at like high speed, or you have multiple thought process going on at the same time? So you want to calm down the brain. So some of the calming stuff you can take is I'll say the magnesium and the B vitamins, because B vitamins do help to um, push things through the mitochondria to help with energy and brain function. And one of the supplements that I like to use is called Juvenon. So you can look that up on Amazon or from other place. This is not something you get at the regular drugstore, but I like the juvenile because it has most of the ingredients that is for the mitochondria to use. So CoQ10, I think L-carnitine, and maybe um, alpha lipoic acid or a combination of those three. So the B12, no, B supplements and the juvenile. And then for you, for that focus part, like if your problem is mostly in attention and focus, some of the herbal stuff that you're taking probably is good, like the ginseng, the ashwagandha, and then rhodiola, and then ginkgo. And the other thing I will also add to the mix, because I don't know what dose you're taking, you might have to experiment with the dosing as well and see, and then just monitor how you feel. The other thing is like, are you also having things like anxiety or depression or any other um, mental illness that might be affecting your attention? Because I know in our group or even in my book, we focus very much on the brain chemistry. But what I also notice is a lot of people having ADHD symptoms are also dealing with like um, maybe job situation or work or school environment that is like making them constantly in the fight or flight state. And the thing is, when you're in the fight or flight state, which is your body stress mode, you just can't think. Everything shuts down and you're preparing to fight. So when you're always in that stress state, you might not be able to focus. So that's another thing to think about is like your environment. Like, are you in a living situation or work or school situation that have a lot of stress? And if so, you can look into like ways how to deal with that. And like one of my friends, she has a lot of like problem, like really severe depression and anxiety. And we kind of identify a few things in her life that is not working to help her calm. And the only recommendation that I have for you is if you live in a situation or job environment that is kind of like stressful, and you cannot change that. If you can change your environment, the only thing you can change is your reaction to those. So that will be something to think about is if your job is stressful and you don't think that you can change job or your boss is a bully, like how could you change your reaction to those? Or if you're in school, like if you're struggling in a class, well, if you're struggling in class, actually there are things that you can do. You can talk to your professor, you can talk to a teacher, take a different class, or wait and take the class from a different teacher or something like that. But yeah, just think of things that if there are any stressors in your life that's causing you some of the stress, because definitely stress can cause some of the brain symptoms, right? Because just think of like like a deer in a headlight. You're like just frozen. Like I don't know what to do. So and yeah, so sorry, Stuart. I can't give you a good recommendation, but those are things that I would recommend. Like if inattention is your problem, like sticking to the more neurotropic type of supplements will be the best. And you might want to experiment with the dose a little bit too. So, but the thing is, like you said, you're taking all these every day. These are a lot. So I'm not sure if you're listing all the individual ingredients. But like I said, most of these are actually very good stuff for the brain. But without getting a better picture of what exactly you're doing and more of your background, I can't give you solid, perfect recommendations. Because, yeah, sometimes like the other thing too is ADHD doesn't happen by itself as an isolated disorder. It often happens with a lot of other conditions, like even some medical condition causes symptoms of ADHD, like sleep apnea. We there's actually a lot of research who shows that people with sleep apnea or even kids when they have the tonsils removed and they start sleeping better, the ADHD symptoms disappear. Or things like celiac disease or gluten intolerance, there are actually studies showing that people with celiac disease or gluten intolerance have a higher risk of having ADHD, and when they remove gluten from their diet, most of the symptoms disappear. um, and also with the other thing like anxiety, depression can also affects ADHD, which is very common in people with ADHD. It's almost like every kid with ADHD also have anxiety. And then when the anxiety gets bad enough, they have depression as well. And I think part of that is just environmental because teachers constantly telling you that, hey, you have ADHD, you just can't sit still, right? So the teacher just treats you differently, and then you just feel different in school. And you feel like growing up, you just feel like not fit in, being that odd kid all the time, and just stress. So anyway, so and then I think I can type in here. So I mentioned earlier the B complex that I recommend is called Pure Encapsulations, Pure Genomics, Pure Genomics, B complex. So these are two that I recommend. And for magnesium, I do recommend this. This is the one that I use myself. It's called magnesium, not magnesium, it's called concentrates minerals. The reason why I like that is because it have like a bunch of different other minerals in it, but the majority is in magnesium. So you can use that as well. So yeah, I think Life Extension supplement is good too. It's one of the more reputable brand, but again, like to get a good recommendation or a concoction of a supplements and a diet plan, like we'll have to look at your overall medical history, and then if you have any labs that we can look at, and then go over some of your symptoms, like not just your ADHD symptoms. Like with my patients, my evaluation, I usually look at the medical history, social history, look at the labs, if there's any medications, and and the diet histories, just overall looking at the whole person as a whole to see, and also look at symptoms, not just your ADHD symptoms. I look at symptoms like skin condition, like if you have rash, asthma, eczema, those things tells me if you have like some kind of food sensitivity, stomach issue like constipation, diarrhea, gasiness, bloating. So those also give me an idea of the functioning of your digestion. So yeah, yeah. So Stuart, like I said, I'm sorry I cannot give you a good reason why like something's missing or what's missing here. But if you want to talk more, you can actually go to my website at Eat to Focus, and you can schedule a consultation there with me, and then we can actually spend more time and go over like your symptoms, and then give that way will give me more idea of what's going on and how to make some changes. Yeah, lithium is good too. Lithium, like lithium is actually a medication. Well, kind of or not. Lithium is a mineral, but it is used as a medication to treat maniac disorder. Tryptophan is good. So GABA is a calming substance. The SAMI is good. I don't remember that. I actually have an article that I wrote on my blog like many years ago. Lithium is a mineral that helps with mood because that's the same medication that is used for manic depression. Depression. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So, do you have any other questions, Stuart? If not, like I said, if you want to have like a little bit more time for me to go over your history, you can go ahead to eat2focus.com and schedule a one-on-one consultation if you want. Okay. All right. And the other thing I'll recommend that you do is to keep a log of your behavior. Write down everything that you eat every day, the supplements you're taking, and your behavior. Like certain times that you feel like you have lower energy level, or the time of the day that you are more motivated to do things. Because even like for me, I do notice that my brain functions better first thing in the morning and also at night. after 10 o'clock for some reason. Like after 10 o'clock at night, I can super focus. So yes, writing something down like that will help. Then that way you can kind of like plan out your day. So if you notice certain time of the day, like during the day, like around noontime, you tend to not able to focus, then don't plan on things that requires a lot of your attention at that time and switch around. But also, if you notice that maybe noontime is more the time when you're not able to focus that well, also look at what you're doing at that time too. Or are you eating or not eating? Maybe because you always skip lunch and you don't have enough energy for your brain. That's why you can't focus, right? So yeah, writing things down will help. And you don't need to be perfect. Just write down, or even when you're like, just remember, just write down. But yeah, I used to put a note on my wall there, telling myself that okay, my best time is morning before 10 o'clock, and then my second best time is 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, the huperzine A, that's also good. Like I said, all the supplements that you're taking, they're all really good. So if you feel like you're taking all this and you still kind of feel like missing something, definitely look into your diet. Yeah, arginine is good as well. But is the arginine and the citrulline, those are not very specific for brain chemicals. They're more um, very general amino acid. So, but I would stick to like the ones that I mentioned earlier, like the B complex, the juvenile, and then the herbal stuff like ginseng, ginkgo, rhodiola, ashwagandha, and a few that you're taking. The thing is, when you take so much different things, it's hard to kind of pinpoint which one works and whatnot. So yeah, like I said, yeah, I know you take off this. So like I said, just keep a journal for a couple of weeks and that might help. Oh, I'm sure it costs thousands of dollars. Yeah. So yep. But it's not the amount of money that matters, right? It's like finding, yep. And you know, the supplement industry is $1 billion supplement. So you know how they sell it, right? They just say, oh yeah, take this pill, this help with this and that. But you know, a lot of this company, they just put out the supplement just because everyone is taking, it's like the CBD, right? Like now everyone like talks about CBD like it's a magical pill. Like it can help with, it can cure your cancer, it can cure your heart disease, it can cure your diabetes, it can cure this. Like it's like whatever you have, just take CBD, right? But then also there's things like called placebo effects as well. So how many of these people taking it is because they just believe that taking these pills help them with something. It's just the belief. Yeah, Nordic natural is good. So Nordic they make mostly omega 3. So I do like the omega 3. Carson's is good. I use the fish oil and cod liver oil as well. I never use the neurotropics depot. I don't tend to use that because I have my own um dispensary that I use, and I'm actually thinking of starting my own supplement brands with my own blend. So that's probably coming next year because I have a lot of other things planned out for you guys for the ADHD group. So yeah, so Stuart, thank you so much for coming and showing up here today. And like I said, if you want chat with me longer, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. I know you spend a lot of money on these, so I really would love to help you sort all these things out and maybe get you down to just taking a few of these things and have better results. So, all right. Anything else? And Stuart, like, don't be a stranger. You can always email me or just go on the Facebook group and message me there. Okay. So, oh, okay. Then that's good. If you already have good results, that's perfect. Then keep doing what you're doing. Okay. That's wonderful. All right. What's that? What does that mean? Are you, is that another issue that you're having? All right. But anyway, uh, it could be just from all those supplements kind of cleaning out all the junk from your body. So, yeah, hopefully it'll get better. One thing you can definitely help with that is maybe try to add more vegetables, especially green vegetables, because the green color in vegetables, the chlorophyll is actually very cleansing. That might help. Yeah, put a fan in the bathroom. You can put a fan in the bathroom or use that po- potpourri, that thing that you see on TV. Yeah. But the thing is, I'll say if you're taking all that supplements and it's helping you solve whatever you solve, I think that's kind of like a little minor side effects, right? Better than other side effects that's more fatal. So, but yeah, smelly bathroom, that's kind of easy fix. Okay, so the melatonin and valerian root, those are all calming supplements, so those are good to take. But melatonin, make sure you take it at night. It is a hormone to help you with sleep. Yeah, so that's awesome. Dandelion, I don't really remember what it does, but I know all these, I think they all fall into the calming category. So the melatonin definitely is for sleep. The valerian root, dandelion root. Oh, okay. The valerian root, dandelion root, and the lemon balm. These are all liver cleansing. So that might be a reason why it's giving you like smelly poop and farts because it might be detoxing your liver, which is a good thing because you don't want your liver to get sick. Yeah, that might be it. Um, yeah, I don't. The only thing, like I said, only thing I could think of that could help you is like taking more green stuff because the chlorophyll will help definitely clean out all the stuff out, and it might take you a while to actually for that smelly farts to disappear. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, or yeah, don't know the MDMA. So that's cool. So yeah, very nice chatting with you today, Stuart. So yeah, hang out at the group, share your stuff, or ask questions, or like I said, if you want to do a one-on-one, that's fine with me as well. So, and that's the time we have today. Like I said, thank you so much for showing up today, and actually you're educating me on a lot of things that I don't know, and probably is gonna start doing some look into some of the supplements that you have. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, and hopefully see you next week. Okay. Yeah, there's more other supplements. I'll actually post a link, but I think you took most of the ones that I recommended. But I'll see if there's any other new ones. But otherwise, most of the things that you take are pretty good already. So yeah, keep it up if you're having good results. Okay. All right. Bye.